There's a golden retriever walking by. Don't look at him. Winnie hates golden retrievers and doodles and squirrels and cats, but everything else is fine. Hi kids, welcome back to another pizza party. I'm Mrs. Pizza. No, don't sit down yet. Let them admire you. This is Winnie. And back there in the spot is Cheese. And I am here today. God, you are just so cute. I am here today to start a reading vlog. Why? Because I can. Honestly, I don't even know if I really can. I'm here doing this because I've got to read 5 more books. 5. Just 5. To make it to 100 books, to hit my reading goal for the year. Is it important that I hit this reading goal? No, not really. Nothing changes if I do or don't hit it. But I have had years where I've read 200 books. Easy. Cake. I don't know if I was stopping to eat, but I was reading constantly. This year has been a different story. This is a goal that if I don't hit it, I won't be mad at myself, but I want to try a little bit because I have not been reading in the month of December. I blame the fact that it is the busiest month of the year for me at work, and also because he is making the loudest sandwich. Can you hear that? Yeah, I think he's decided to wrap himself in cellophane. He's also, I'm pretty sure, has his earbuds in, so he has no idea that when I'm talking about him, or two, that I can hear him. Let me start this sentence for like the 15th time. 1, it's the busiest time of year at work for me, hands down. It is just, we all buckle in and get our butts handed to us the end of the year. 2, I'm going to be out of town for Christmas and through New Year's, and I don't get a lot of reading done when I go where I go, because honestly, I'm there to hang out with some of my favorites, and so we do a lot of stuff, and reading is usually not one of them. I do usually read a lot in the airport, but that's only 2 days, so. And 3, I haven't felt like reading. I think it's the anxiety. Anxiety either makes me want to only read because I need to escape from this hellish landscape, or makes me unable to sit still and read. Like I turn into some sort of like rubber bouncy ball. Like I am just ding, 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 ding. Anyways, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about some books that I want to read. I have been taking full advantage of the library because I can walk to one, and that's magnificent. Like honestly, walking to the library when it's nice outside is one of my favorite things. Is it currently nice outside? No, I had to drive to the library today because it's freezing. It's freezing cold and raining. And no, I refuse. I do not have the proper equipment for that trek. But I did gather together all of my library books, and I want to read some of these bad boys. Technically, if I read all of these, that would hit me at 100. But I don't know if these are the books I actually feel like reading, and that's the magic of the library. I didn't pay for these, so if I don't get to them, it's not the end of the world. Here are some of my choices. I'm going to see which one I feel like picking up today. I think some of these are horror. I think the majority of this is like horror or dystopian or darker. So for this one, this is like a fall 90s rom-com. If this isn't just a true testament of like, hey, here's some dark stuff, also rom-com? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see something. Look at... I don't know. This makes me want to do this. I need to check in with you really quick because, again, I don't know if this vlog is ever going to see the light of day. Probably not. I read a whole book, and I'm about to go to the library and need to return this along with some others, so let's talk about this. Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead. This is one of those books that I think was recommended to me because it is currently wintertime, hence the reason I always have a hat on. It was 19 degrees Fahrenheit where I live today. That's disgusting. We are supposed to have mild winters in the southern United States. What is this? I object. This was one of those books where people are like, you're looking for something to read that has all the cold atmosphere. This book pops up a lot. It said it was weird. It said it was cold. And those things were what I thought I was looking for. I hope you can hear everything that's happening in the background, by the way. The dogs have the loudest bones that have ever happened, but they're happy, and I refuse to stifle their joy. And Mr. Pizza is taking a shower and has decided to turn on, it's not music, I don't know what it is, at 1,000 volume so that the neighbors can hear what he's enjoying while he showers today. I did not mean to get sidetracked, but in case you're new here, that's my personality, getting sidetracked. This book, I ended up giving a 2.5. I think that's what I ended up giving. This is the story of an elderly woman that lives in a very remote area in Poland on the side of a mountain. It's the kind of place where people have small summer cottages, but in the wintertime, everybody leaves this area to go live in the cities and warmer areas because it basically gets cut off for the most part from the small local town. So her and these two other elderly people live on this mountain full time. We open this book in the wintertime when one of her neighbors that lives there full time is knocking on her door and he's like, hey, our other neighbor is dead. Come with me. And they go to the house of the dead neighbor. We then proceed to follow her for around a year as she absolutely rambles. My elevator pitch for this was older woman who is obsessed with astrology, talks your head off while murders happen in a cold and isolated place. There you go. That is what happens in this book. There were so many full paragraphs that I had to skim, if not completely skip over, because our main character, who is our narrator, has a very wholly original way that her mind works. She will dive into these absolute deep dives into, she can predict the day you're gonna die based on the day and time you're born and who's in your house, whether it's Mars or Venus, and you're just Taurus, and I don't know. It was something that I think if you know what she's talking about, maybe you can follow along. I don't care about that, and the book did not make me care about it because it just spent so much time on it. But I understand why, because that is kind of how this main character's mind works. She's a very wholly original and slightly obsessive type of personality, and she has her own very strict set of morals. Her hyperfixations is astrology. And so because of that, we spend a lot of time talking about astrology. Can you tell I didn't like that part? I didn't like that part. I found this to be a fast read. I thought the atmosphere of being on this mountain and having our narrator being a very fixed point on this mountain who lives in this very secluded, snowy area, I thought that was very interesting. It just so happened that I didn't really enjoy hanging out with this narrator for long blocks of time when she was talking about astrology. But I finished this, so we're gonna return it to the library. So we are currently at this many books, which brings us closer to 100. Maybe we can make it before 2026 gets here.
Penguin Random House Audio presents The Art Thief, a true story of love, crime, and a dangerous obsession, by Michael Finkel.
I just finished an audiobook. So I picked up The Art Thief, not to be confused with The Art Thief, because I almost confused them. Had to double check. Glad I didn't. But I finished this one pretty quickly. It's not that incredibly long. This is a nonfiction that starts in the 90s about a young man who is a prolific art thief. Elevator pitch. You ready? Scrooge McDuck rolling around in art. That is what this man is doing. We follow a young man who I believe his last name was Brutweiser. He's Belgian, and he begins stealing art from museums from a somewhat young age. And then him and his girlfriend have a multi-year crime spree where they travel together and steal art from museums of many different sizes. They travel around small museums, large museums. They steal art and weaponry and musical instruments, paintings and sculptures and silver chalices for years and years, but they don't sell them. They stockpile them in their attic bedroom because they live with this man's mom. These two young people live with his mother, and they stockpile all of these priceless art history pieces in their bedroom, and that's what they do with them. They don't sell them, they just keep them for their own funny, fun times. This was totally fine. I don't usually like to rate nonfiction unless it's really, really poorly done. I thought this was fine. There's a lot of time spent with our art thief, as well as a little time with his girlfriend and his mother, but we also will diverge and spend a little time talking briefly about other major art thefts in history. The one that was the most interesting to me was that in 1911, I believe, the Mona Lisa was stolen and was missing for 2 years before it was recovered, and they talk about who stole it and how it was recovered. This was, if you're at all interested it was an easy listen. And the author spends a lot of time, especially in the author's note, talking about how they spent time with this art thief and talking to him. And he had a lot of sway over how he was portrayed in this book, but I don't think the author was necessarily enraptured by this art thief so much as they were giving you the narrative from the art thief as they presented it, while also shining lights on the corners that maybe this person didn't want you looking in. If that makes any sense. Totally easy read if you're interested. I was interested, so I did a read. Here's our current count. We are that much closer to 100. What are your thoughts? Do you think we're gonna make it? Do you think because you're seeing this vlog that we made it? Perhaps not. Wouldn't that be a plot twist? Gotta love a little bit of just like the stark white heavenly light. Why are we here? Why are we ever here? What are any of us doing here on this planet? We are currently here. I'll hold it over here so you can actually see it. Because I finished a book. That's right. We have gained momentum, friends. We just might be able to pull this off. This was, I don't even know how I heard about this book or where I heard about this book. There's definitely some authors that have blurbs on the back of this that I'm big fans of and trust their taste. This is listed as a compulsively readable, page-turning descent into all that is lovely and grotesque about grief, obsession, and love. Let me tell you, elevator pitch, first and foremost. We are post-zombie apocalypse in the city of London. Think if we were doing this based on any sort of movie series, I believe 28 weeks later, where everyone is starting to try and return to normal life after the zombie apocalypse has been eradicated. So we are in London in this period of time where everyone is just drowning in the trauma that they have endured during the zombie apocalypse. Our main character, Kesta, is a scientist and she works in a cancer research facility. She is reeling from the losses that she has incurred due to the zombie apocalypse when she is recruited to work for a very secretive, maybe government program to create a vaccine, find a cure for the zombie apocalypse, but she is holding very serious secrets in her back pocket. Now, that being said, don't go into this thinking this is going to be high octane zombies. Again, even though I just compared this to 28 weeks later, they have very different feelings. I'm just trying to set you up for the right time period, or the right setting is how I would put it. This is much, much slower. This is incredibly science heavy. This is about grief. This is about loving someone to the point of your own ruin. And this is learning when to let people go, things go, really not letting yourself be eaten alive by your own grief and inability to move on. This is incredibly sad. The real horror elements to this, I'm going to say it, so gird yourself, because I don't know why it caught me off guard, because it doesn't make sense that it caught me off guard, but it is something I'm sensitive to. She is in a medical testing lab, so there is testing being done on animals. I don't think it was incredibly graphic for the sake of being graphic. I think it was probably realistic in this setting, in this world that this character existed in, but I have a hard time reading it, watching it, knowing it exists, and it existed in this book. I ended up giving this, I believe, 3 stars. I liked it just fine. I liked following this character. The horror element of the zombies isn't necessarily a current and urgent threat in this book. There's also a lot of parallels. Our main character's last name is Shelley. There is a little bit of that influence. In this story, it's more of the inability to let go, the inability to move on, and how sometimes holding on, even though people wouldn't want you to, people would prefer to be let go. Everyone around you is saying, please let this go, move on with life. And she is so wrapped up in what she's doing that she doesn't lift her head up and look around to see how much she's deteriorating, everything's falling apart. She's sacrificing herself, but she can't seem to see that that's what she's doing. I thought this was fine. I thought it was just stinking fine. And I feel like I've been reading a lot of books recently that are just fine. I think that this is one of those books that if you're looking for like a zombie horror novel, don't pick this up. That's not what this is about. This is about love and grief and just letting that grief consume you completely and not being able to move on. That's what this is. Guess what our current book count is? That's right. That's where we currently live. There's a chance. There's more than a chance. There also seems to be a monster truck outside. Can you hear that? Jesus Christ. I've got the rest of today before I head back into work and absolutely have my butt handed to me because it is going to be the busiest week of the entire year for me. So let's see what we decide to pick up next and if we can make this happen. Why are you drooling? All right, we have finished another book. I listened to the audiobook. Can you see me? Hello. That's what I thought. We're gonna lay down. I'll pet you if you lay down. I finished another book. We finished Our Wives Under the Sea, which is something I picked up because it was available on audiobook from the library. It is not really a thriller. It's not really a horror. A literary fiction with some sci-fi elements, maybe? It's just didn't even make a sentence that time. So this is the story of two women. They are married, and sometime prior, one of them went on some sort of job where they were in a submarine and something went wrong. And so we have 2 points of view. We have each one of the wives. We have their point of view. Leah is the one that went underneath the sea, under the sea, was stuck there. She was supposed to be gone for 3 weeks. She was gone for several months. Mary is the wife that was left behind, earthbound, shore side. There we go. That makes more sense. And so we get Mary's point of view starting at the point where Leah has been home for some period of time and it is not going well. And then we get Leah's point of view basically from the point in the mission where things start to go wrong. I will say I only ended up giving this 3 stars, and that was purely based on the fact that I think it was very beautifully written. But this is a story where we are talking about a lot of things, using this wife that has disappeared and had come back different. We're talking about relationships after a post-traumatic event, how some sort of trauma would completely change someone and continue to change them as they process what has happened to them. How sometimes the kindest thing is letting someone go. How you'll never truly understand what someone has been through as far as their trauma because they themselves might not have a full grip on the trauma they've been through. I understand all of these things. I understand what we were talking about, but not too much happens in this book. Because if you tell me that our wife went underneath the ocean in a submarine, was gone for an indeterminate amount of time, came back, changed, came back different, I would assume that something about that would be sinister, that there would be more about what is happened to her. And though we do get some of those questions answered, I didn't love this. And that's okay. I liked it just fine. I just didn't love it. That's okay. I understand what we were talking about, and I read it. So we're done with that. So the next book that I pick up will be my 100th book of the year 2025. No pressure, no pressure. I also am very well aware that this is usually not how I or anyone else does vlogs. Usually I start a book, tell you the brief synopsis, check in halfway, and give you my thoughts at the end. I'm just picking up a book, finishing it, and telling you how I felt about it. I'm okay with that. I hope you're okay with that. There's hope that you will see this vlog. You're probably watching it now. Hey, how's it going? And then there's probably a good chance that I hit 100 books. Right, Winnie girl? She passed out. I can't see her face. All right, we finished a book. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause. I read 100 books in 2025. I know. Pretty proud of myself. Didn't win anything, but I am proud of myself. And also, if you didn't read 100 books, if you read one book in 2025, I'm proud of you as well. Just read whatever you can read. I was able to pull this out at the 11th hour. I finished, is it Brigands? Brigands? Hold, please. Let me figure out how to pronounce this before I come on here. Brigands and Breadsticks. Hey, so that says Breadknives, not Breadsticks. Just, can I read? Is the real question. I read 100 books and I cannot read the title of this one book. Brigands and Breadknives. According to the internet, that is how I say those English words in the first language and only language that I know. Good luck out there. This is technically book 2, but this is the 3rd installment in the Legends and Lattes series. The first book that was released was Legends and Lattes. The second book that was released was Bookshops and Bone Dust, but that is technically a prequel to the first book. If we are going chronologically, is the 3rd book, but is technically the second book because the first book is book 0. I don't know. I would suggest reading them in publication order. How about that? Read them in publication order. So we have our 3rd book, which we are following Fern. She is introduced in the second book, the one about Bookshop. She is I believe it's called a ratkin. She's like a mouse person, and she is friends with Vivian, our orc, who is our main character in both the first and the second book. Fern is traveling to where Vivian lives to open up a bookshop, but she is not necessarily satisfied with her life. She doesn't really know what to do, but she's feeling very stuck and she doesn't know how to move on. She doesn't know what she wants. So one night she accidentally gets a little drunk, falls asleep in a wagon, and wakes up on the road on an adventure with a legendary elf adventurer. We then travel with Fern and this elf adventurer and some friends we make along the way as Fern tries to figure out what she wants to do with her life. This is not nearly as cozy as the first book is, but I don't believe that the second book was nearly as cozy as the first book is as well. I feel like I am blinding you with this shininess. If I was lost on a deserted island, this is how I would send out my signals to planes passing by. This is more of a low stakes fantasy adventure is how I would put it. To me, cozy, and I feel like this could be interpreted a lot of ways, but a low stakes adventure is something that there are stakes along the way. There are battles, there are moments of peril, we are encountering obstacles, but it never feels like the end of the world. These stakes are usually very localized. It's our main character or some small group of people, our found family perhaps, that is in danger. I really liked this. I like this author's writing voice. I like the characters. I like Fern causes like a flippin' sailor, and I really enjoy it. It's sweet, it's easy, it's fast to get through. 4 stars. If you're looking for something that's a lower stakes fantasy, if you like a traveling fantasy, if you like that found family element, I laughed out loud a few times reading this book because there are some very funny twists and turns. It was totally a 4-star fantasy read for me. We made it, guys. We made it. So let's end out the year of 2025 with our last couple of books. Thanks for hanging out with me during this very random and weird reading vlog. It was fun just trying to cram in a bunch of reads near the end of the year. And I had some decent reading, some okay reads, some good stuff, but nothing completely disappointed. I hope that your 2025 reading year, that your year in general ended okay. I hope you're reading good books out there, wherever you are, and I'd love to hear about them. If you had fun hanging out with me and the dogs, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.